Welcome to Emergence.
Emergence is excited to launch its web automation API, and in this video I want to show you how to get started using it. You can get to the product page from our website at emergence.ai, and this page has an explanation of the strengths of this API, example use cases, and what it does. But at a very high level, it can automate tasks on the web using an API. It performs dynamic planning and runtime orchestration across multiple agents to perform that task. But let's walk through how to get an API key and issue some requests ourselves. Clicking on this button to get an API key will bring us to the user dashboard, and this is where you can find your API key. So let me copy this API key and then jump to our documentation website, which has a more thorough API reference. And from this documentation website, we can issue calls to this API using the online playground itself. The API exposes two endpoints, one to create a workflow and another one to look up its status and results. So let's start by creating a workflow in this online playground. I will paste my API key in here, and then in the body I will enter the prompt or the task that I want to accomplish. So let's say I want to get a summary of venture capital for AI in 2024. I will send this workflow, and here you see in the reply we got a workflow ID. We will use this workflow ID to look up the status and results of this workflow. Let's go to the page that documents the get workflow status endpoint, and here workflow ID is a parameter in the URL path. I've copied this over from the reply of the previous call to create a workflow. I have also put in my API key here, and now if I send this call, I will get back a reply showing me the status of this workflow execution. Here it is telling me that it is still in progress. If we look at the full body of the response, we will get a lot more detail. Internally, what the web agent is doing is breaking down the given task into a step-by-step plan for accomplishing it. The first thing it does is do an appropriateness or safety check, and if that passes, it goes on to formulate a plan to accomplish this task. And you can see this plan over here, where step 1 is doing a search, step 2 is looking at the search results, step 3 is verifying the information, and you can see further detail about the execution of all these steps in the body of the reply. As you scroll down, you can see even more granular sub-plans for executing each of those steps. One interesting thing to note over here is how the web automation agent performs dynamic replanning when it runs into obstacles. For example, it first wanted to check Bloomberg.com, but when it ran into an obstacle on that site, it proposed an alternative plan to check another site. If in a few moments we send this request again, we get back a result saying success. And here in the result field of the JSON response, you can see a detailed response for the query I issued. And if you scroll down, you can see a detailed step-by-step log of the plan that the web agent proposed, how it executed that plan, how it adjusted that plan. This demonstrates the runtime orchestration and dynamic plan adjustment capabilities of this agent. This example demonstrated the online playground to call the API, but of course, you can use curl to issue requests from the command line or write code in any of a number of languages such as Python, JavaScript, and so on. It is a REST HTTP endpoint that can be simply invoked using any programming language. Thank you, and we can't wait to see what you build with this API.